The night before our wedding, my future husband's father pulled him aside and whispered, "You can still change your mind. We can find someone better for you." My fiancé sighed. "They're just nervous." I smirked. They should be. Their smug expressions disappeared the moment they realized I wasn't the kind of woman they thought I was. I never dreamed of a fairy tale wedding. Sure, I liked the idea of romance and happy endings, but I was too grounded to believe in fairy tales. Life never handed me anything on a silver platter, and I wasn't about to fall for the whole princess in a white dress fantasy. But when I met Mark, I thought, maybe this is my chance. He was charming, successful, and most importantly, interested in me. We hit it off from the very first conversation. It happened in a bar in Charleston, South Carolina. He was with his friends, laughing, sharing stories, and I remember thinking, he doesn't even know me, yet somehow he's making me feel like I matter. I wasn't the kind of girl who usually got attention from men, so this was all new, thrilling, like maybe, just maybe, I could finally live the life I'd always dreamed of. Mark was well known in Charleston. His father, a powerful businessman, had built a legacy. His family was influential, wealthy, respected. And me? I had none of that. I came from a small town and a working-class background. Everything I had, I earned myself. The idea that someone like Mark would even look in my direction felt impossible, but he did. And when he proposed, I was overjoyed. His family was thrilled too, especially his father. He seemed genuinely pleased to welcome me into the family. They were eager to introduce me around, and I tried to embrace it, even though deep down, I always felt like I didn't belong. Fancy dinners and private clubs weren't my world, but Mark loved me, and that had to be enough, right? The wedding was scheduled for the next day. It was a grand event, honestly, way too big for someone like me. The venue was a historic mansion in downtown Charleston, the kind you see in movies. The decorations were lavish, the guest list was long, and the pressure to look perfect was overwhelming. The day before the wedding felt like a blur. Hair appointments, dress fittings, rehearsing my vows in my head. It all felt surreal, like I was acting in someone else's story. But the worst part? Something deep inside kept whispering, "I'm not ready." I couldn't explain it, but I knew I was making a mistake. Then, that night, after the rehearsal dinner, it happened. I was standing by the bar when Mark's father, let's call him Mr. Bryant, walked over. He wore his signature tailored suit, looking like he stepped out of a business magazine. He smiled at me in that cold, calculating way of his, and I instantly knew something was off. "Grace, you doing okay?" he asked, his voice smooth as silk, but something about it made my skin crawl. "I'm fine, just a little nervous," I replied, trying to stay composed. "Understandable," he nodded, narrowing his eyes slightly. "I just want to make sure you're certain about all this. Mark's a great guy, but you don't have to do this if you're not sure." My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't expected him to say that. Not now, of all times. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to hide my confusion. He leaned in, lowered his voice. "Grace, you've got your whole life ahead of you. Mark's a solid choice, but if you're having second thoughts, it's okay. You don't have to go through with it. We can help you find someone who really gets you. I've seen women like you before. You deserve someone who understands you." I stared at him, unsure what to think. It felt wrong, like a threat wrapped in a compliment. Was he trying to manipulate me? "I'm not having second thoughts," I said with a forced smile. "I'm just nervous about everything going smoothly." Mr. Bryant's expression didn't change, but I noticed something darker flicker in his eyes. "You don't have to settle, Grace. You're still young. If you ever feel trapped, just know you can always walk away." I didn't respond. I just stood there frozen. Was this really the family I was marrying into? Did they think I could be pushed around so easily? But then I realized, he wasn't just talking about walking away from Mark. He meant walking away from their world, from everything they had built. I nodded politely, but inside, I was furious. Mr. Bryant walked away, and I stayed at the bar, trying to process what had just happened. Why did he say that? Was it just a weird conversation, or was there something deeper, something more unsettling, beneath the surface? I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe I imagined it all. I had worked my whole life to earn everything I had. No one was going to tell me what to do. especially not Mark's father. A few minutes later, Mark found me. He smiled warmly, but I saw the tension in his eyes. "Hey, you okay? You seem a little off." "I'm fine," I said quickly, forcing another smile. "Just thinking about tomorrow." He nodded, satisfied with the answer. "I get it. I'm nervous too, but don't worry, Grace. Everything's going to be perfect. I know it." We hugged, and for a moment, I tried to believe him, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. That night, as I lay in bed, sleep wouldn't come. My mind kept replaying the conversation with Mr. Bryant. The way he tried to plant doubt. I had never felt more out of place. The next morning, wedding day, I did everything I could to stay calm. I got dressed, did my makeup, smiled when I had to, but the feeling that something was wrong just wouldn't leave. And as I walked down the aisle, I kept my eyes locked on Mark. He looked at me with the same warm, loving expression, and I truly wanted to believe that everything would be okay. But as I stood there, in front of everyone, his family, my family, all our friends, I couldn't ignore the growing sense of dread inside me. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw him, the one I had tried to forget, the one I had been hiding from. He was sitting in the very back of the church, his dark eyes fixed on me. My heart skipped a beat. What was he doing here? Mark was chatting with his best man, and I was doing my best to stay composed, but I couldn't take my eyes off him. He wasn't invited. He wasn't supposed to be here, but there he was. That's when I realized, the secret I had been hiding for so long, the one thing I thought I could control, was finally coming to light. My past wasn't as buried as I had hoped, and now it threatened to destroy everything. I couldn't look away. He stared at me with the same intensity I remembered. His presence felt like a storm, silent, but looming. My hands trembled slightly as I fought to keep calm. Mark stood at the altar, his back to me, unaware of the storm brewing behind him. The ceremony began, and only then did the full weight of the moment hit me. It was time for the vows, but my mind was far from love and devotion. I was drowning in a whirlwind of memories, regrets, and the truth I had tried to outrun. Before Mark, I had a different life, one I believed I had left behind forever. But there he was, a part of that life, sitting in silence, watching me like he knew everything. The man who could destroy it all, Sam. My stomach twisted into knots, but I couldn't look away. He kept watching, waiting. Maybe he wanted me to break. Maybe he was daring me to react. But I couldn't, not yet, not in front of everyone. The priest's voice faded into the background. I heard the organ, the subtle movements of the guests, the tension hanging thick in the air. And Sam, always Sam, his gaze never left mine. Then, a thought hit me like a brick. What if he wasn't just here to make a scene? What if he had a plan all along? What if he knew something I didn't? What if the wedding wasn't the end, but just the beginning? Then the priest asked, "Does anyone object to this union?" I froze. Silence. Deafening silence. For a moment, it felt like everyone was watching me. And then, his voice cut through the stillness. "I do." Sam stood up from the back of the church. Gasps rippled through the room. Heads turned. Mark's face flushed with confusion, then anger. His father shot up from his seat, eyes blazing. Guests exchanged whispers. "What the hell are you doing here, Sam?" Mark's voice shook. Sam stepped forward, eyes locked on mine. But he wasn't just talking to Mark. He was speaking to me. "I came to stop a mistake," he said, his voice steady and cold. "Grace isn't who you think she is. She's hiding something. And if you marry her today, you'll never know the full truth." A chill ran down my spine. This wasn't just a dramatic interruption. It was a public accusation, one that could unravel everything I had worked so hard to build. Mark turned to me, eyes wide. "Grace," he said, like he was trying to understand me for the first time. "What is he talking about?" I wanted to tell him. I wanted to scream the truth, but no words came. I just stood there, trembling. Sam continued, voice low but clear. "I warned you this day would come. You can't outrun the past forever." The tension tightened like a noose. People were whispering, pointing, trying to make sense of what was happening. Mark's father looked ready to throw him out. "You have no right to be here," he barked. But Sam didn't flinch. "I have every right," he said. "Grace and I share a history. You've all been lied to. Mark deserves to know the truth." Mark's jaw clenched. Anger flickered in his eyes, but so did something else. Doubt, fear. He turned back to me. Grace, who is he? Why does he have so much power over you? I felt trapped. I had worked so hard to bury this part of me, to create the illusion of the perfect bride, the perfect life, the perfect future. But Sam had shattered it all. For a moment, I thought about running, just leaving, escaping. But that wasn't an option anymore. Not now, not with everything unraveling. My voice cracked. I couldn't speak. I couldn't explain the mess I had created. How could I? How could I explain the chaos, the lies, the broken promises? Sam took another step closer, his eyes still locked on mine. Tell him, Grace, he said. Tell him the truth. Where Sam steps closer and says, tell him, Grace. Tell him the truth. Let me guess. Your drama-fueled wedding fanfic got so intense, you accidentally switched languages from emotional overload. Understandable. Anyway, here's the continuation in English. From the Russian cue, Sam took a step closer, his eyes never leaving mine. Tell him, Grace. Tell him the truth. Tell him everything you've been running from. The silence in the room was suffocating. Mark stood there, confused, betrayed, waiting. Everyone was waiting. My lips parted, but the words were tangled in my throat. The truth felt like poison, and I had swallowed it for so long I forgot what it was like to breathe. I began, my voice barely a whisper. It's true, I said finally. Sam and I, we have a past I never wanted to face again, but it's here now, and I can't hide it anymore. Gasps echoed again. Mark's face went pale, his hands clenched into fists, not from anger, but from disbelief, from the weight of something unraveling in real time. Tell him what you've been hiding from him. The room fell silent. Everyone was waiting for me to say something, to explain it all, but I couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to tell Mark the truth, not in front of all these people, not with everything on the line. Mark turned away from me and faced Sam. You're lying. This is some sick joke. Grace would never, she would never, she would never, she would. Sam interrupted, his voice cutting through the air. Mark's face went pale, anger turning into confusion. He looked back at me, his eyes searching for some sign that this was all a misunderstanding. But it wasn't. There was no misunderstanding. I think you should leave, Mark said, his voice trembling but firm. Grace and I need to talk. But Sam didn't move. You won't want to talk to her when you hear the truth, Sam said. At that moment, Mark's father, Mr. Bryant, stepped in with an authoritative voice. Sam, this isn't the place for your games. Leave now, or I'll call security. But Sam wasn't done. You can't stop me. Grace can't hide the truth anymore. He looked at me one last time, a sad expression on his face. I'm sorry, Grace, but you can't marry him. Not like this. I felt like I was suffocating, like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, with everything about to crumble beneath me. What did Sam mean? What was he going to expose? I glanced at Mark, who was now standing there, completely lost. His eyes were wide, searching for answers in my face, and for the first time, I knew there was no turning back. The room was frozen. Everyone was waiting for something, anything, to break the silence. I could feel my heart pounding, the pressure building, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. Mark's eyes, full of confusion and disbelief, were locked on mine. His face was pale, as if he couldn't quite grasp what was happening. Sam's presence in the room felt like a ticking bomb, each second counting down until everything exploded. And the worst part was, I didn't know if I could stop it. I didn't know if I even wanted to. Mark took a shaky breath. Grace, what's going on? I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. I was too scared, too ashamed. But as I looked at Sam, something inside me broke. I had been running from this moment for far too long. Grace, Mark called again, louder now. His voice was filled with panic, and I could hear the hurt beneath it. Tell me the truth, right now. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I couldn't keep lying. I had done it for so long, and hurt too many people along the way. And now, standing at the altar, it was all about to come crashing down. With all the strength I could muster, I turned to face Mark. The room was so silent, I could hear every breath. My heart was heavy, but I finally spoke the words I had been avoiding for so long. I've been lying to you, Mark, I said quietly, my voice trembling. There's something I need to tell you. Something you should have known long before today. Mark's face shifted from confusion to horror. What are you talking about? I swallowed hard, trying to steady my breath. Before I met you, before all of this, I was with Sam. We were in love. Or at least I thought we were. We had something real, but things went wrong. And I messed it up. The weight of the truth crushed me. Shame, guilt, it all came rushing to the surface. Sam was right. I had been hiding from my past, thinking I could just move forward and forget it all. But now, there was no escaping it. Mark took a step back as if he had been physically struck. His face twisted in pain. So you've been lying to me this whole time. You were with him, and now you're marrying me. I nodded, tears threatening to spill from my eyes. I thought I could move on. I thought I could bury it. But I was wrong. I should have told you, but I was too scared to lose you. Mark's face now showed pure rage. You lied to me, Grace. You used me. You made me believe in something that wasn't real. I had nothing to say. I couldn't defend myself. I had ruined everything. Sam stepped in. It's not just about Grace, Mark. It's about what she did to both of us. She was with me, and then she just left me for you. She didn't even have the decency to explain. She broke my heart. And now she's about to break yours. Mark's eyes shot to Sam. So you knew about this the whole time? I knew, Sam replied, his voice hard. I let her walk away, but I should have fought for what was mine. I was weak, but I'm not weak anymore. Mark looked back at me, his eyes full of betrayal. You used me to escape. You were never in love with me, were you? I shook my head. No, Mark. I was, but I wasn't honest with you. And now, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but my apology was nothing more than a hollow sound. Mark's face twisted with anger, and in that moment, I realized there was nothing I could do to fix it. Get out, Mark said, his voice shaking with rage. I don't want you here, both of you. You're not the woman I thought you were. You're nothing but a liar. The sting of his words hit me like a slap in the face, but I couldn't argue. I couldn't defend myself. I had lied to him, and now he didn't even want to look at me anymore, and I deserved it. Sam stepped forward. You heard him, Grace. He doesn't want you, but I'm not going to let you walk away like this, not after everything. Mark turned on him. Don't you dare try to play the hero now. Sam, you both messed up. You can both leave. I don't need either of you in my life. Sam's expression hardened, and I could see the bitterness in his eyes. Fine. But this isn't over, Grace. You think you've got it all figured out with Mark, but you don't. You've ruined everything. You ruined me, and now you're about to ruin him too. With those words, Sam turned and walked out of the church, leaving behind only the echo of his footsteps. I stood there frozen in place, feeling like the whole world had just fallen away. Mark turned away from me, wiping a hand over his face, as he took deep, steadying breaths. But it didn't matter anymore. I had broken him, and there was no coming back from this. Mark, I whispered, taking a step toward him, my heart aching with every movement. Please, I didn't mean for this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. But he didn't turn around. He didn't look at me. Just go, Grace. Go before I do something I'll regret. I stood there staring at him for a moment longer. I had destroyed everything. The love, the life, the future we had planned. It was all gone, and it was my fault. I had let fear, pride, and guilt cloud my judgment. I had hurt him. I had hurt myself. And now I was left with nothing. I turned and walked out of the church, my heart heavy with the weight of my mistakes. The vows we were supposed to exchange were nothing but a distant memory. I had lost my chance at love, at a future, at everything. The wedding that was supposed to mark the beginning of our life together had become the end of everything. And as I stepped into the empty streets of Charleston, I realized that I had only myself to blame. The truth had come out, but the damage it had caused could never be undone. And in that moment, I understood something painfully clear. Sometimes the price of our lies is more than we can ever afford.